نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Indeed, all praise is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His assistance, and we ask for His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evils of our own souls and from the evil consequences of our actions. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, then none can misguide this individual. And whomsoever Allah leads to go astray in misguidance, then you will not find anybody who can guide this individual. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And there is nothing that is worthy of our worship except for Allah Jalla wa Ala. And that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His slave and His final messenger. To proceed, the best speech is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the best guidance is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the worst of all of the matters in this religion are those newly invented matters. For indeed, ya ikhwan, every newly invented matter in this religion, it is a bid'ah, it is an innovation. And every innovation is misguidance, and every misguidance is in the fire of hell. It pleases me to be able to come and speak in front of you brothers here, and I thank the administration at this masjid. And inshallah today the topic of our discussion is the world of the Jinn. The world of the Jinn. And in reality, ikhwan, this is a topic about which there are many fairy tales, there are many false sources of information, there are a lot of rumors and just old wives' tales. Because subhanAllah, there hasn't been a nation on this earth except that they have believed in jinn, or that they have believed in spirits, or that they have believed in ghosts. And all of these are different names for the world of the jinn. But each of them, they come with their own theories, they come with their own information. And what we have to remember, and this is a qa'idah, this is a principle which we have to stick by. This is an element of the unseen. The world of the jinn, it is an element of the unseen. So I can't come now and just start making up things from my own wishes and my own desires. We have to stick to the book of Allah and the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. For example, if you wanted to describe Jannah, you can't describe Jannah because you haven't seen Jannah. You can't talk about the trees of Jannah from your own whims and your own desires, from your own intellect, from your own imagination. We have to go back to the book of Allah and the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commands us with this. Allah Jalla wa Ala, He says in Surah Al-Isra, He says, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. Do not speak concerning that which you have no knowledge. If you don't have any knowledge over a particular issue, then don't follow it. Don't speak about it. Don't just make up things about the world of the jinn or the world of the angels from your own desires. Because you're going to be questioned on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And you're going to be asked on Yawm al-Qiyamah, where did you get this information from? Why is it important that we study the world of the jinn? Firstly, as I've mentioned, there are a lot of misconceptions concerning the jinn and the world of the jinn. And sometimes people fall into shirk. They fall into shirk with Allah, associate partners with Allah, because they don't understand the world of the jinn properly. Secondly, it's important for us to study these things because these are from our aqeedah. This is from our creed. And we have to also study these unseen elements, because we need to see and understand the beauty of Islam. The beauty of Islam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not left anything except that He's explained it in the Quran, except that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us about it in his sunnah. As he said, قَدْ تَرَكْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْبَيْضَاءِ لَيْلُهَا كَنَهَارِهَا. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, I'm leaving you upon a clear white plain. Its day, its night is like its day. There's no darkness. It's pure clarity in the deen of al-Islam. Before we begin, start looking at their creation, start looking at whether they eat and these type of things, I don't want anybody here to be feeling even an ounce of fear in his heart. Because we are talking about the jinn, I don't want anybody to be feeling apprehensive or feeling any amount of fear in his heart whatsoever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Quran, أَتَخْشَوْنَهُمْ? Do you fear them? Do you fear the enemies of Allah regarding the shayateen, regarding the mushrikeen? Do you fear them? فَاللَّهُ أَحَقُّ أَن تَخْشَوْهُ إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. But Allah has more right. Allah has more right that you fear Him if you are truly believers. And shaitan, he may come and begin to whisper into our minds, and he starts saying, you know, you're sat here and the shayateen are going to come and they're going to harm you later on, or perhaps you're feeling a bit apprehensive. This isn't the case with the Muslim. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Ali Imran, إِنَّمَا, indeed, ذَلِكُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَهُ. Indeed, this is shaitan, this is the devil, and he frightens you. He frightens you with his supporters. Indeed, this is shaitan. He frightens you. This type of whispering and this type of promises, these false things that he arouses in our hearts, these false fears, he is frightening you, him and his supporters. فَلَا تَخَافُوهُ. Allah says, so don't fear him. Don't fear them. وَخَافُونِي إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. But fear me if you are truly believers. So our fear is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We understand that yes, the shayateen, they are around, the jinn, they are around, as we're going to see. They live amongst us. They inhabit our homes with us. They are with us. We have a jinn with us every single day, every single moment, our qareeb. But we have to understand at the same time, we have taqwa of Allah. We put our tawakkul ala Allah. We put our trust and our reliance in Allah, and we don't fear the jinn even for a second. As I have mentioned, we're going to be referring back to the book of Allah and the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Many of the scholars of hadith, they said that the people of hadith, they send more salat and salams on the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam because they study his narrations. So you're going to hear me regularly in this talk, inshaAllah. I'm going to say, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and I want everybody to send peace and blessings on the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because the Messenger alayhi salam, he said, the miserly one, the tight one, is the one who I am mentioned in his presence, and he doesn't send peace and salutations upon me. In another narration, he said, may his nose be rubbed in the dirt, in the dust, who I am mentioned in his presence, and he doesn't ask Allah to send peace and salutations upon me. This is in reality, ya ikhwan, this is for our benefit. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, whoever sends salat and salams upon me once, Allah will give him 10 blessings. So it's from our benefit. It's for our own good deeds. Allah mentions about the Messenger alayhi salam, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. Allah has raised your remembrance. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in reality, he doesn't need us. Allah is the one who is honoring him and raising his remembrance. But this is for our benefit. Let's send peace and blessings on the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. To proceed, concerning the origin and the creation of the jinn. The jinn, ya ikhwan, they were created before mankind. Jinn were created before mankind. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Hijr, He says about mankind, we created man from an altered mud. We created man from an altered mud. And then Allah tells us about the jinn. He says, وَالْجَنَّ خَلَقَنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ مِنْ نَارِ السَّمُومِ. And the jinn, we created them before, aforetime, before mankind, from a scorching flame. So the jinn are a creation which predates the creation of Adam alayhi salam and his children. They were around before the children of Adam, and Adam alayhi salam himself was around. In Surah Al-Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَخَلَقَ الْجَنَّ مِن مَارِجٍ مِّن نَارٍ. We created the jinn from a smokeless flame of the fire. And Ibn Abbas and Mujahid, they said concerning this ayah, the smokeless flame of fire, it means the tip of the flame, the hottest part of the flame, the purest part of the flame. And in the hadith, which is recorded by Imam Muslim on the authority of our mother Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Allah created the angels from nur, from light. Allah created the angels from light. And He created the jinn from a smokeless flame of the fire. And Adam, he's been created from that which is narrated to you. In other words, the clay, which has been narrated in various ayat and various ahadith. So we see, ya ikhwan, that the jinn, they are created from a smokeless flame of the fire, the purest part of the fire, the tip of the flame, as some of the mufassirin, they have mentioned. Can we see them? Is it something which we can go about our day-to-day lives and we can see the jinn? No. In general, we cannot see the jinn. In general, we do not have the ability to see them, but know that they can see us. Okay? So we cannot see them, but they can see us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-A'raf, إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُ. Indeed, He sees you. Referring to the shaitan. Referring to shaitan. And we know that Iblis, he is from amongst the jinn. So Allah says, indeed, He sees you, him and his tribe, him and his armies, from where you do not see them. So we go about our daily lives and we perhaps even forget about their existence. We don't even take it into account that they exist. We just go about our daily lives. For us is our world and for them is their world. But they can see us. And we generally don't have the ability to see them. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in authentic narration, he told us about 3 types of jinn. He told us about 3 types of jinn, or 3 forms of the jinn. He said there are 3 types of jinn. One which flies through the air. One type of jinn, it flies through the air. And in general, this is the ifrit. This is the strongest type of jinn. So there is one type of jinn which flies through the air. Another type, it consists of snakes and dogs. And a third type, it is based in one place, but it can move around in the earth. Just like us, we're based in one place, we're not flying around anywhere, but we can move around in the earth. So these are some of the types that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentioned. When we talk about jinn, ya ikhwan, we have to remember that there are jinn who are Muslims. Okay, we don't want to oppress our brothers from amongst the jinn. So there are jinn who are Muslims and there are jinn who are non-Muslims. You have jinns who have their own faiths, jinns who follow the different faiths of the people of the earth. There are some who are Muslim and there are some who are non-Muslim. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Jinn. Surah Al-Jinn, ya ikhwan, is a conversation between the jinn. So some jinn, they came and they listened to the recitation of this Qur'an. They came and they met the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the Messenger alayhi salam gave them da'wah. He gave them da'wah to al-Islam. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this surah, Surah Al-Jinn. And in this, we see some of the dialogues between the jinn. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions to us in part of this surah, وَأَنَّ مِنَّا الْمُسْلِمُونَ وَمِنَّا الْقَاسِطُونَ. And indeed, some from amongst us, they are Muslims, and there are others who are unjust. Okay? فَمَنْ أَسْلَمَ. So whoever submits to Allah, فَأُولَٰئِكَ تَحَرَّوْا رَشَدًا. Those are the ones who are upon the right course. Those are the ones who have taken the correct path. وَأَمَّا الْقَاسِطُونَ فَكَانُوا لِجَهَنَّمَ حَطَبًا. And as for those who are unjust, as for those who disbelieved, they have been unjust to themselves. Remember, إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. Remember, Luqman, he said to his son, Ya bunayya, la tushrik billah. O my son, do not commit shirk with Allah. Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Indeed, shirk is the greatest of oppression. So when these jinn, they're talking about those who are unjust, they are talking about those who are committing shirk with Allah. And they said, as for the Muslims, they've gone the right path. As for those who are unjust, as for those oppressors, they're going to be fire. They're going to be wood for the fire on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Likewise, you're going to hear me talk about shayateen. Okay? You're going to hear me say in specific, I've been mentioning about jinn so far. Some are Muslims, some are non-Muslims, there are different types. Some jinn, we mentioned about the jinn, they were created before us. Jinn is the general term. There are Muslims, there are non-Muslims. But when I talk specifically about the shayateen, then I'm talking about those rebellious ones, those mushrikeen, those evil ones. They are the evil ones from amongst the jinn. But know, ya ikhwan, that you also get shayateen from amongst men as well. Okay? So anyone who is rebellious against Allah, the enemy of Allah, the enemy of the messengers, he is known as a shaitan. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا. And thus we have made for every prophet an enemy. We made for every prophet who was sent an enemy. شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ. Shayateen from mankind and also from the jinn. So we know from this that it's not correct to say every jinn is a shaitan. Okay? Because are you going to call your Muslim brothers from amongst the jinn? Are you going to call them shayateen? This is oppression. Okay? So we say that there are Muslims and there are non-Muslims. As for the shayateen, what do they look like? As for the shayateen, what do they look like? Again, it's very easy to, you imagine what we see in the cartoons. He's a devil and he's all red and he's got horns and he's got spikes coming out. This is not correct. Because like I said, an element of the unseen. We have to go back to the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If we find it there, we speak about it. If we don't find it there, we remain silent. Okay? So as for the shayateen from amongst the jinn, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions their ugly appearance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah As-Saffat, He talks about the tree of Zaqqum. The tree of Zaqqum, as Allah mentions, we're going to see, it is a tree which grows in the root, in the base of the hellfire. It grows in the base of the hellfire. Allah tells us that the fruits of this tree, they are like the heads of devils. The fruits of this tree, this evil tree, this scary tree, this dangerous, disgusting tree, which grows in the root of in the base of the fire, as for its fruits, they look like the heads of shayateen. Concerning this tree of Zaqqum, Allah mentions, إِنَّهَا شَجَرَةٌ تَخْرُجُ فِي أَصْلِ الْجَحِيمِ. Indeed, it is a tree which grows and it issues from the middle, the base of the hellfire. طَلْعُهَا كَأَنَّهُ رُؤُوسُ الشَّيَاطِينِ. Its fruits are like they were the heads of the devils. Okay? So we know about the ugly appearance. Because I want you to think about it. This tree which grows in the base of the fire, are its fruits going to be pleasant? Are its fruits going to be nice and attractive? If this tree is growing in the base of the fire of Jahannam, then subhanallah, its fruits are going to be ugly. And Allah mentions concerning it, they're like the heads of the devils. We also know from the authentic sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam that the shaitan, Iblis, and the shayateen who are with him, they have two horns. Okay? As for where are these horns, again, we don't go that far because we've never seen them and they haven't been described to us. But we know that they have two horns. The hadith is reported by Imam Muslim on the authority of Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, he said that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, do not pray. Do not pray when the sun is rising or when the sun is setting. فَإِنَّهَا تَطْلُؤُ بَيْنَ قَرْنَيِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Because indeed it rises. Indeed it rises between the two horns of shaitan. The sun, it rises between the two horns of shaitan. Some of the scholars have mentioned this, ya ikhwan, and they've explained this. They said that when those people, they worship the sun, they worship the sun when the sun rises and the sun sets. This is when they worship the sun, because for them this is their God. So when they are prostrating and worshipping the sun, shaitan, he comes and he stands in between them. And he stands in such a way that when the sun rises, it rises as if it's rising through his horns. And when it sets as if it's setting through his horns. This is how some of the scholars have explained this hadith. Concerning the jinn, they have to follow the message of al-Islam. They had messengers who were sent from their own selves. Allah says, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتِ. We sent to every nation a messenger saying, worship Allah and stay away from Taghut. Taghut is that which is worshipped, anything which is worshipped besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we have to remember, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent you except as a mercy to all of the worlds. And Allah has told us that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent كَافَةً لِلنَّاسِ, for all of the people. Okay, so they had to follow the jinn, they had to follow the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, just like me and just like you. The jinn, they don't have a final messenger other than the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In this regard, as I've mentioned, some jinn, they came and they began to listen to the Quran. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the beginning of Surah Al-Jinn. قُلْ أُوحِيَ. Say it has been revealed or it has been sent down to me. قُلْ أُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ أَنَّهُ اسْتَمَعَ نَفَرٌ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَقَالُوا إِنَّا سَمِعْنَا قُرْآنًا عَجَبًا. Say, it has been revealed to me that a group of the jinn, they have listened and they have said, indeed we have heard a wonderful Qur'an. A wonderful Qur'an. We need to explain the background of this. Before the sending of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the soothsayers and the fortune tellers, they used to have jinn which used to go up and listen to the heavens. They used to make a chain, one above the other, and they used to go up and try and listen to the heavens. And we're going to mention the hadith later, inshallah. They go up and they listen to what Allah has decreed, because Allah decrees, and then the angels, they talk about what Allah has decreed. So these jinn, these shayateen, they will go up and try and listen to what the angels are talking about. And then they come back and then they tell the fortune teller, this is what Allah has decreed for the future. This is what's going to happen. But when the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent, then Allah guarded the heavens. And Allah caused the shooting stars to defend the heavens. So the jinn, they were dumbfounded. What has happened? What has changed? Because we used to go up and listen. But now something has changed and the heavens are guarded by these shooting stars. So they came and they understood that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has been sent. Then they came to him, they followed the Arab riders and they came to him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and they heard him and they listened to this Qur'an. This is when they said this. We have listened and we have heard a wonderful Qur'an. And in the next ayah, يَهْدِي إِلَى الرُّشْدِ فَآمَنَّا بِهِ وَلَنْ نُشْرِكَ بِرَبِّنَا أَحَدًا. We have listened and it guides to the right way, it guides to the just way, and we have believed in it, and we are never going to commit shirk with our Lord. So they became Muslims. And then they went back and they started giving da'wah to the other jinns. They have their own world, ya ikhwan. Perhaps they have their own scholars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. But what we have to understand, they cannot have, or it will not be accepted from them on Yawm al-Qiyamah except for Islam. Inna ad-deena 'inda Allahi al-Islam. Indeed, the religion in front of Allah, the religion acceptable to Allah is Islam. So if they come with Sikhism or Christianity or Judaism or atheism or fire worship or Satan worship, if they come with any of that, it will not be accepted from them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقَبَلَ مِنْهُ. Whoever wants to bring, or whoever comes with a religion other than Islam, it's never going to be accepted from him. وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And in the Akhirah, he is from amongst the losers. The Jinn, they live amongst us. The Jinn, they live amongst us. I don't want you to think that they have their own islands and their own cities and their own world. No. The Jinn, they live amongst us. Okay? But we can't see them. But dogs and donkeys, they have the ability to see the Jinn. Donkeys and dogs, they have the ability to see the Jinn. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he narrates that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if you hear the crowing of the rooster, then ask Allah for his blessing. Ask Allah for his bounty, because it has seen an angel. So we learn from this that the roosters, they can see the angels. We can't see them. So the Prophet ﷺ said, if you hear them crowing, if you hear them making this noise, then ask Allah for his bounty, because they have seen an angel. And if you hear the braying of a donkey, then seek refuge with Allah, because it has seen a devil. It has seen a shaitan. So the donkeys, they have the ability to see the shayateen. And Abu Dawood, he narrates that the Prophet ﷺ said, if you hear the barking of a dog, how many times do we hear the dogs barking now, in and around us? He said, if you hear the barking of a dog or the braying of a donkey, then seek refuge with Allah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Seek refuge with Allah, because they see what you do not see. They can see the shayateen. You do not see the shayateen. What about the Jinn and their food and their drink? Do they eat? Do they drink? The answer is yes. The hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari. And Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he narrates that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he went and he relieved himself. So then he said to Abu Hurairah, bring me some stones to clean myself with, but do not bring me bones or do not bring me dung. Do not bring me the bones of an animal, or do not bring me the dung of an animal. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he asked the Prophet alayhi salam, why? Why can't I bring you bones, or why can't I bring you dung? And the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the Jinn of Nusaybin, they came to me. The Jinn of Nusaybin. This is a group of the Jinn. And the Messenger alayhi salam looked, he said, and what good Jinn they are. So it's not correct for us to say that all Jinn are bad, all Jinn are evil, all Jinn are shayateen. The Prophet ﷺ said, what good Jinn they are. And they asked me for provision. They asked me to make dua for provision, that they have rizq. And the Prophet ﷺ said, I prayed to Allah for them, that they should not pass by any bone or dung, except that they will find food on it. Subhanallah. So any bone or dung that we have, the dung of our animals, the bones that we eat, you eat a chicken leg and you throw the bone away. If this gets into the hands of our brothers from amongst the Jinn, they will find food on it. As for how, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. This is a world of the unseen. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the hadith is in Sahih Muslim, on the authority of Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, a caller from the Jinn came to me. A da'i, a caller from the Jinn, he came to me. And I went with them, and I recited the Qur'an to them. And this is where we get Surah Al-Jinn from. I went and I recited the Qur'an to them. Ibn Mas'ud, who's narrating this hadith, he says, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he took us, and he showed us their footsteps, and he showed us the traces of their fires. They asked him for provision, and he said, you will have every bone over which the name of Allah has been mentioned. You will have every bone over which the name of Allah has been mentioned. When it falls into your hands, it will have plenty of meat on it. SubhanAllah. So you take some food, you cook some food, and you say Bismillah, and we don't eat the bones, we throw the bones away. When it gets into the hands of our brothers, our Muslim brothers from amongst the Jinn, because we have said Bismillah, it will have plenty of meat on it for them. Think about this, subhanAllah. To us, it is just a bone. But this is why we have Iman. This is why we have Iman. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. One of the conditions we have to have, Iman in the unseen. So when the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he tells us something, we don't argue. We don't argue, we believe. Like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. When the Prophet alayhi salam, he went on the Isra and the Mi'raj. And he came and he told the Quraysh, I have been to Bayt al-Maqdis. I have been, this is a month's journey there and a month's journey back. He said, I have been there and back in one night. The Quraysh said, that's it, we've got them now. So they went to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and they said, have you heard what your companion is saying? Have you heard what your companion is saying? He claims that he's been there and back in one night. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he said, if he says it, I believe it. This is how we need to be. Iman. Iman. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He doesn't speak of his own desires. It is revelation which is revealed to him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As for shaitan, this is our brothers from amongst the Jinn who are Muslims. You say Bismillah, the food gets into their hands, the bones get into their hands, and they have plenty of food on it by the permission of Allah. As for the shaitan, and I want you to ask yourself, perhaps there are brothers amongst us who they eat and they drink with their left hand. They eat and they drink with their left hand because they're left-handed, so they write with their left hand. When it comes to food, they take with their left hand. When it comes to drink, they drink with their left hand. Look at what the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, إِذَا أَكَلَ أَحَدُكُمْ. When one of you, he eats. When one of you, he eats. فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِيَمِينِهِ. Let him eat with his right hand. Let him eat with his right hand. فَإِذَا شَرِبَ. And if he drinks, فَلْيَشْرَبْ بِيَمِينِهِ. Let him drink with his right hand. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانِ. For indeed the shaitan يَأْكُلُ بِشِمَالِهِ. He eats with his left. وَيَشْرَبُ بِشِمَالِهِ. And he drinks with his left. If you eat and you drink with your left hand, you are following not the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You're following the way of the shaitan. You're following the way of the shaitan. It's so important, and we need to teach our children. We need to teach our children from a young age. Say Bismillah, eat with your right hand. Eat from that which is in front of you. Like the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he taught the young boys. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, he narrated this hadith which I have just mentioned to you. If you enter into your home and you don't say Bismillah, shaitan, he follows you into your home. If when you eat, you don't say Bismillah, shaitan eats with you. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the hadith is in Sahih Muslim, he said, when a man enters into his home and he mentions Allah, i.e. he says Bismillah upon entering, and when eating, the shaitan says, there is no place for you. Shaitan is telling his followers. Shaitan says, there is no place for you in this house and no dinner for you. If he enters his home and he does not mention Allah, the shaitan says, you have a place to stay. You are inviting the shayateen into your home. Teach your kids, oh my son, when you enter into your house, enter with your right foot, say Bismillah. Because if you don't do that, shaitan, he will follow you in. But not just that. The Prophet ﷺ continued and he said, and if he does not mention the name of Allah when he is eating, the shaitan says, you have a place to stay and you have dinner tonight. Think about this, subhanAllah. Are our wives, are our children bringing the shayateen into our homes? Are they inviting the shayateen to come and eat with us? Because we don't mention the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The jinn, they get married and they multiply. They have children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in Surah Al-Kahf concerning Iblis. How Iblis, he went against the command of Allah, and then Allah says, أَفَتَتَّخِذُونَهُ وَذُرِّيَّتَهُ أَوْلِيَاءَ مِنْ بَعْدِي مِنْ دُونِي وَهُمْ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ بِئْسَ لِلظَّالِمِينَ بَدَلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, will you then take him, Iblis, will you take Iblis and his descendants? Will you take Iblis and his offsprings as protectors and helpers instead of me? What an evil exchange it is. What an evil exchange it is. And Qatada, rahimahullah, he said, the shayateen, they produce offspring, just like the children of Adam produce offspring, but they are greater in number. Let's look at some of their abilities now. One of their abilities is that some of the jinn, they have the ability to cover massive distances in a very short space of time. Massive distances, they will cover massive distances in a very, very short space of time. Sulaiman alayhi salam. Sulaiman alayhi salam, and the story of what took place between him and the Queen of Sheba. Sulaiman alayhi salam, he wanted somebody to bring the Queen of Sheba. She had a massive throne. He wanted somebody to bring that throne to him. And we know that from the blessings that Allah bestowed upon Sulaiman alayhi salam is that he had control of the jinn. The jinn used to work for him. So Allah mentions in Surah An-Nahl that a powerful one from amongst the jinn, he said, I will bring it to you. I will bring you this massive throne before you can rise from your position. You're sat down, before you can even stand, I will have that massive throne and I will bring it to you. In other words, they can travel these vast distances in a very short space of time. They also have the ability to ascend to very high places. As we've mentioned, they can ascend to almost to the heavens, and they try and listen to what Allah has decreed and what the angels they are talking about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions concerning the jinn, وَأَنَّا لَمَسْنَا السَّمَاءَ فَوَجَدْنَاهَا مُلِئَتْ حَرَسًا شَدِيدًا وَشُهُبًا. And we have sought to ascend up, but we have found it filled. We have found a heaven filled with powerful guards. This is after the sending of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The hadith is in Sahih Bukhari, and it's on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. He said that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when Allah decrees a matter in the heavens, the angels, they beat their wings in submission, like a chain. Imagine you had a metallic chain and you were hitting that chain off a rock. They beat their wings in submission and out of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then, when the fear of Allah, this fear that they had from the decree of Allah, when it is banished in their hearts, the angels, they begin to talk amongst one another, and they said, what has your Lord said? They then begin to ask one another, what has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the angels, they mention, Allah has said the truth, and He is the High, the Great. So those who are trying to eavesdrop, referring to the shayateen, those who are trying to eavesdrop, they hear it, and they drop it to the one who is beneath him, to the one who is beneath him, to the one who is beneath him. So he follows it until it reaches the lips of the sorcerer. So imagine there's a chain all the way up to that heaven, and they try and listen to what the angels have mentioned about the decree of Allah, and he passes it down and down and down and down, and it's like Chinese whispers. And the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentioned that they put it into the ears of the sorcerer and they add 99 lies with it. 99 lies and just one truth. And so when that sorcerer, he tells you, this is what's going to happen in your life, he tells you 99 lies and just one truth. And you forget the 99 lies that he told you. And then when that one thing happens in your life, you say, wow, that sorcerer, he knows the unseen. He could tell me about what happened in my life. Yet you forget about the 99 things that he got wrong. This is how weak we are in our iman. Sometimes, ya ikhwan, they may take the form of a man. Again, the hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. Again, on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that he was guarding the wealth of the Muslims. He was guarding the wealth of the Muslims. And he found a man trying to steal, take a handful out of this wealth. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said, I'm going to take you to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He caught this man trying to steal. The man said, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. I have a big family and they depend on me. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he let him go. Abu Hurairah came to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the Prophet alayhi salam had already been informed by revelation. He asked Abu Hurairah, who came to you this evening, O Abu Hurairah? Abu Hurairah said, this was this and this happened, and he said, let me go because I have lots of dependents. The Prophet alayhi salam said, he is a liar. He told a lie and he's going to come back tonight. So on the second night, Abu Hurairah is waiting for him because the Prophet ﷺ told Abu Hurairah that this man is going to come back. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he catches the man again trying to steal. He catches the man trying to steal again. Abu Hurairah catches him and says, I'm going to take you to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The man says, oh Abu Hurairah, let me go because I have lots of dependents. I have a big family and I need to provide for them. And I promise you that I'm not going to come back. So Abu Hurairah comes to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the Messenger asks him, who came to you tonight? What did he say? Abu Hurairah narrates the whole story. The Prophet alayhi salam said, he lied, he is telling a lie, and he's going to be back tonight. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he's waiting for him on the third night. He's waiting for him on the third night because he knows he's going to come back. The Messenger of Allah said it, it means it's definitely going to happen. So he waits for him and he catches him again on the third night trying to steal from the wealth of the Muslims. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he says, I am definitely taking you to the Messenger of Allah. He says, leave me alone and I will teach you some words by which Allah will benefit you. Abu Hurairah asks, and what are they? He says, recite Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum, Ayatul Kursi. Recite Ayatul Kursi before you go to sleep, and Allah will appoint a guard. Allah will appoint an angel, a guard for you, and no shaitan will be able to harm you until the morning. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he is informed of this. The Prophet alayhi salam said, he spoke the truth, but he is a liar. He spoke the truth, he is a liar. Then he said, do you know who was visiting you on these 3 nights, O Abu Hurairah? Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, I don't know. He said, that was the shaitan. That was the shaitan. So the shaitan was visiting and was caught by Abu Hurairah in this instance. But it seems that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best that they can't change forms at will. This was something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed to happen. Similar to the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, where Jibreel came in the form of a man. This is tied to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let's look, ya ikhwan, at what the jinn are not. Let's look at what the jinn are not. The jinn, they are not spirits of the dead. The jinn are not spirits of the dead which come back later on. We hear this so often. We hear this so often. This house, it is haunted by spirits of the dead. The jinn are not spirits of the dead. They are not all-powerful and they are not to be feared, as I recited those ayat to you at the beginning. They shouldn't be feared. You should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are not fallen angels. Okay? Some people think about Iblis that he used to be from the angels. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسِ. When Allah says about the angels, they all prostrated. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسِ in one part of the Quran. But then in another part of the Quran, Allah says, كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَفَسَقُوا أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ أَفَتَتَّخِذُونَهُ وَذُرِّيَّتَهُ أَوْلِيَاءَ مِنْ بَعْدِي وَهُمْ مِنْ دُونِي وَهُمْ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ. Okay? So subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us clearly, Iblis is from the jinn. They are not fallen angels, ya ikhwan. Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah, he said, Iblis was not an angel even for the blinking of an eye. Even for the blinking of an eye. The angels, we know they do not have free will. Angels don't have free will. I have free will, you have free will. The children of Adam, mankind, they have free will. The jinn, they have free will. As for the angels, they don't have free will. The angels, they have to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let's look at some of their weaknesses, subhanallah. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said in the hadith, is in Sahih Bukhari, he said that when the night falls or when evening comes, keep your children close, bring them inside, because the devils, the shayateen, they spread out at around Maghrib time. When it comes to Maghrib time, this is for us, we're coming to summertime now, and your kids are outside, make this a habit. Bring them inside at Maghrib time. When it's coming up to Maghrib time and the sky is becoming red, bring your children inside, because the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that the devils, they spread out amongst the earth at this time. And then he gave us what to do next. But when an hour of the night has elapsed, an hour after Maghrib has taken place, then you can let them back out. Close the doors. When you close the doors, the Messenger alayhi wasallam said, close the doors and mention the name of Allah, for shaitan cannot open a closed door. Close your doors and say Bismillah. Look, people fear them. People give them this really high status. People begin to seek refuge in the jinn. Yet, you close your door and you say Bismillah, the shayateen, they cannot even open that door. They are weak in this regard. If you fear Allah, if you implement the sunnah, they will not have any ability over you by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the things that they do have the ability to do, and this is a general ability which Allah has given to them, is to possess people. Jinn have the ability to possess individuals. Okay? Jinn have the ability to enter into an individual. And they will possess people, as Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah mentions, they will possess people for one of three reasons. The first reason is that this is revenge. So we've mentioned, they live amongst us, and we can't see them, but they can see us. So you imagine you have a kettle with boiling water in it, and you throw the boiling water out. Perhaps there was a jinn sat there, and you have harmed the jinn. And you have harmed the jinn. So as a result of that, they will take revenge. You didn't say Bismillah when you threw something across the room. You didn't say Bismillah when you poured the boiling water. As a result of that, you harmed the jinn. You harmed one of its children. So it wants revenge on you, so it will possess you. Another reason is that it's been sent through sihr. It's been sent through magic. And the third reason, the jinn can actually fall in love with individuals. So the jinn, they might see a woman or they might see a man and they fall in love with that individual and then they possess that individual. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions concerning riba, concerning those who deal in riba. الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا. Those who eat and they deal and they consume in riba, they will not stand on Yawm al-Qiyamah except by the one who's standing, by the one who has been beaten into insanity by a shaitan. إِلَّا كَمَا يَقُومُ الَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. Okay, this is mas from the shaitan. And likewise the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, indeed the shaitan, he flows through the sun or through the veins of the sons of Adam through like their blood. Like our blood flows through our veins, the shayateen can flow through our veins. And of course, this is a matter which is sensed. If you are dealing with the people, it is clear that jinn possession, it actually occurs, and it is very, very real. Let's have a look at some of the weaknesses. The weakness of the plot of the shaitan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah An-Nisa, إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضَعِيفًا. Indeed, the plot of shaitan is weak. Never fear the shaitan. The plot of shaitan is weak. The plot of shaitan, ya ikhwan, always think about this. Whenever you start feeling a little bit apprehensive or a little bit fearful, remember that the plot of shaitan, it is weak. Concerning the fear that the shayateen they have for the people of Tawheed and the people of the Sunnah. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said to Umar radiallahu anhu, O Umar, indeed the shaitan, he is afraid of you. you do not take a path except that he takes a different path. Umar radiallahu anhu, when he used to walk down the street, Shaitan was so afraid of him that he used to take a different street. Wouldn't even walk on the same street as Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And likewise, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, I can see the devils amongst the jinn and mankind running away from Umar. I can see the devils amongst the jinn and mankind running away from Umar radiallahu anhu. Why? Not because he was physically big, because there were people who were physically bigger than Umar radiallahu anhu. Not because he was strong, there was people who were stronger than Umar. But because of his tawheed, because of his following of the sunnah, because of his tawakkul, because of his iman. And likewise, ya ikhwan, with the people of the sunnah. The shayateen, it's not just for Umar radiallahu anhu. If you are a person of tawheed, you are a person of the sunnah, then the shayateen, they will begin to fear you. Let's look at the role of jinn in magic. The role of jinn in magic. The jinn, ya ikhwan, what you have to remember, or the role of the shayateen in the magic, is the shayateen, they want you to commit shirk. Because they know, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. Allah will never forgive the one who commits shirk. If a person commits shirk and he dies upon shirk, okay? If a person commits shirk, he makes tawbah, he comes to tawheed, he accepts Islam, Allah will forgive him. Remember that Islam wipes out that which came before it. But if a person dies upon shirk, he will never be forgiven by Allah. إِنَّهُ مَنْ يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ الْجَنَّةِ وَمَأْوَاهُ النَّارِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that indeed the one who commits shirk with Allah, Allah has made Jannah haram for that person. And his resting place is going to be the fire. So, shaitan, if he can get a person to steal, if he can get a person to backbite, if he can get a person to deal in riba, he knows Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will forgive that person if Allah wills. But shaitan knows, if I can get him to commit shirk and he dies upon shirk, that is one signed and sealed to the fire of hell. I don't need to worry that Allah is going to forgive him. Because Allah is telling us in this life, you commit shirk, you die upon shirk, your resting place is going to be the fire. So the shayateen, what do? They want the magician to perform acts of worship to them. The shayateen want the magician to perform acts of worship to them. So as a result, if the sahir performs acts of worship to the shayateen, then they will do acts in return. You want me to split up a husband and a wife? Okay, worship me, slaughter to me, prostrate to me, call upon me. Then as a result of that, I will go and cause this separation. This is how sihr works. وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ. They follow that which the devils at the time of Sulaiman recited. وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانَ. But Sulaiman did not disbelieve. وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ. But the shayateen, they disbelieved by teaching the people magic. So the shayateen, they want the children of Adam to go to the fire. And they know that if we can teach them magic, and he will perform this magic and call upon us, and slaughter for us, and sacrifice for us, then we will be victorious and they will go to the fire of hell. Finally, ya ikhwan, I want to mention how to protect your home. Something practical. How to protect your home from the shayateen. Because we all have homes. And we all have children, or we all have families, wives. We all want to protect our homes and ourselves from these shayateen. Not from the jinn. Because if we say the jinn would be in general. Some are Muslims, some are kuffar. So it's not correct. This would be oppression. So we say from the shayateen. How to protect our homes from the shayateen. The first thing to remember, ya ikhwan, the house that you are living in, the four walls, they don't become possessed. The bricks and the mortar of your house, they are not possessed. The jinn, they are not, looking for the bricks and mortar and they're trying to buy your house. No. They are trying to take your iman from you. They are trying to make you seek refuge with them. They are trying to make your tawakkul in Allah vanish and disappear. They want you to go from tawheed into shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're giving you problems, they're giving you issues. Remember that it's not your house. So I perform ruqya and people come to me and say, brother, it's this house, we need to move out this house. I say, look, if you go and you live in a cave in the middle of the desert, your problems are still going to remain. Because the jinn, they are trying to have or trying to cause you problems as an individual. And they will follow you wherever you go. So this is the first thing. Understand that it's not the house which is possessed. The second thing, understand, ya ikhwan, that the protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly proportional to your following the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If you are a person of the sunnah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. And the more of the sunnah that you are implementing, and the more of the sunnah that you are following, the more your protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, the best way to seek protection from Allah is to follow the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The next way, recite Surah Al-Baqarah in your homes. Recite Surah Al-Baqarah in your homes. Because the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, whoever recites Surah Al-Baqarah in his house at night, then shaitan will not be able to enter that house for 3 nights. Whoever recites it during the day, shaitan will not be able to enter into his house for 3 days. You recite Surah Al-Baqarah, 3 days of protection by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You recite it in the night, 3 nights you are protected. You recite it in the day, 3 days you are protected. It's not enough to play it on a CD. Okay? This is what people think. I'm going to play Surah Al-Baqarah on a CD, and I'm going to go off to work, and I'm going to come back, and my house is protected for 3 days. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah was asked about this. He said the text clearly mentioned whoever recites Surah Al-Baqarah in his home. So it's not enough for you to just leave it on a CD and leave it playing. Recite the book of Allah, ya ikhwan. When was the last time that you recited Surah Al-Baqarah? And be honest with yourself. Perhaps it was last Ramadan. And Ramadan is coming again now, inshallah. And it's been all that time and you haven't recited the book of Allah, you haven't recited Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay? You can recite it in one go, or you can recite it a third today, a third tomorrow, a third the next day. So you can break it up and make it easy for yourself, inshallah. The fourth thing, do not have pictures or statues on display in your home. Pictures of your wife, pictures of your children, pictures of yourself. Get them off your walls. Get them off. If you have animals or statues of animals or statues of heads, get them off, ya ikhwan. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, the angels do not enter a home in which there is an image. Bukhari and Muslim. The angels do not enter a home where there is an image. The angels, if you have a picture of yourself, you have a picture of your children, doesn't matter how big it is, if it's on display, the malaika will not enter into your home. And understand, where the angels don't enter, the shayateen will most certainly enter. Okay? So don't invite them in and then complain that you're getting problems. Don't invite them in and say to them when you eat, you don't say Bismillah. So the Messenger alayhi salam says that they eat with you. Don't invite them in and give them food and then say there is no sakina in my home. Don't say that there is no peace and tranquility in my home when you yourself are inviting the shayateen to come and eat and be with you. Number 5, there should be no music and no movies in your home. These are from the traps of shaitan. These are from the traps and the desires which shaitan instills into a person. Remember, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said that the words of shaitan, referring to music, the words of shaitan and the words of Allah cannot coexist in the same heart. You cannot have the words of Allah and the words of shaitan in the same heart. One is going to overpower the other. Ask yourself, what is more beloved to your heart? Is it the words of Allah or is it the words of shaitan? Inna fil jasadu kullu. Inna fil jasadu mudghah. فإذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. Indeed, in the heart there is a piece of flesh. There is a piece of flesh. If it becomes good, the whole body becomes good. If it becomes bad, the whole body becomes bad and ruined. Indeed, it is the heart. This is from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So ask yourself, what is more beloved to your heart? The words of Allah or the words of shaitan? Enter your home, say Bismillah. Enter with your right foot, say Bismillah. Close your door, say Bismillah. When you eat, say Bismillah. And we have mentioned the various narrations concerning that. If those shayateen are giving you problems, don't curse them. Don't curse them, ya ikhwan. Rather, say Bismillah. If the shayateen are giving you problems, say Bismillah. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, do not say, may the devil perish. For if you say that, he will swell, he will become so big that he will be like a house. And he will say, by my honor, you're raising him up. But say Bismillah. For if you say that, he will shrink so much that he will become like a fly. So say Bismillah, because they will then understand, I'm trying to give this person problems, he's turning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This will humiliate him. We've mentioned about closing the doors and saying Bismillah and bringing your children in, and when you close your windows, saying Bismillah. Another important point, there should be no ta'weez in your home. There should be no ta'weez in your home. No amulets, no tama'im in your home. That which is hung, or that which is carried, or that which is worn. Remember that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, indeed, whoever wears an amulet has committed shirk. Whoever wears an amulet has committed shirk. Ya ikhwan, subhanallah. وَيَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم. They worship besides Allah that which does not harm them, that which does not benefit them. You wear this ta'weez around your neck and you begin to trust and you begin to rely upon it the way you should trust and rely upon Allah. And if you're committing shirk with Allah, then imagine how many shayateen are going to be in your home. Likewise, we have to perform a lot of dhikr in our house, a lot of nawafil prayers. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, the example of the one who remembers Allah and the one who does not remember Allah is like the example of the living and the dead. You remember Allah, it's like you're like the living. And the other one, he doesn't remember Allah, the comparison is like the living and the dead. And finally, keep your home clean and smelling good, because the shayateen, they are filthy and they are unclean. This is why when we enter into the bathroom, we make that dua. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubuthi wal-khaba'ith. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from the male and female, filthy, unclean, evil spirits. So the point is, ya ikhwan, these affairs, they are from the affairs of the unseen. But in the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we have everything that we need to know that is beneficial concerning the world of the jinn. What's their creation? What are some of their strengths? What are some of their weaknesses? Are they over us? Are they better than us? Should we fear them? Should we seek refuge in them? Should we worship them? Do they have to follow Islam or not? How do we protect ourselves from them? There's a lot that can be mentioned on this topic, but in reality we are running out of time. Ultimately, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.